we headed with the Deflategate here and the possibility that we're going to have some kind of ruling here in the next week or so? Is that a possibility, Albert?
Well, if we have anything in the next week or two, it would be a settlement. I think that's certainly the way Judge Berman wants to go. And, just running into the flagpole with some legal people, Dan, I think there are a couple things that you can take from the order that he put out late last week. I think the first thing is that he clearly sees this is going to be difficult for him to rule on from a legal perspective. Judges generally don't like to intervene in labor law, and it's clear that he doesn't want to set any sort of bad precedent and open a Pandora's box here. As far as stepping in on an arbitration, so he'd rather have this settled out of court. I think that said, and that would prompt him to rule in favor of the NFL. That said, I think it's also clear that he sees the NFL as having overreached on a penalty, and so that's why he'd like to push them towards a settlement. And the way judges generally handle that is that they try to lay out a worst case scenario for both sides and kind of dangle that over their heads. And they've got two conferences coming up on the 12th and then the 19th for the oral arguments. And it certainly seems like Judge Berman's intent is to get some sort of settlement in motion there.
But how does Tom Brady's side negotiate here and try to find some kind of safe area for both sides or acceptable side here? Doesn't this have to come from the NFL to say, all right, here's the deal, Tom? Can Brady say, hey, I'll take 2 games?
I think the hardest thing, Dan, really is the admission of guilt.
Yeah.
That's kind of the one that's the hard thing because I personally think Brady would take a shortened suspension. I mean, and I know this that over the last couple months, Brady's made it clear to everybody around him that he wants to put this behind him. He's never been the guy that likes to get in the mud during football season. He's never stepped foot on a field in the contract year. He's never. He wasn't real comfortable about having his name in the lockout, involved in the lockout the way it was in 2011. He doesn't want any distractions to get in the way of football season, and so made it very clear to the people around him that he would like to find a way to settle this. So I think he'd be willing to take a game or two. I think where he doesn't want to go is the admission of guilt. And that makes it really hard on the NFL because the NFL put millions and millions of dollars into investigating this, and they came to the conclusion that there was wrongdoing. So how do you middle that? That's the really hard part, and that's really where, any hope of settlement talks fell apart in the previous phase of this. Brady just was not willing to, admit guilt in this case, and the NFL was insistent on getting that as part of any sort of deal, and that's why they didn't get anywhere with those talks. I don't know how the judge overcomes that in this phase of it.
Man, it's like a staring contest here.
Yeah. I think it's important for Brady to clear his name, and that's the big thing is, he's insisting he didn't do anything wrong, and the NFL looks at it and says, well, we have this, we have a mountain of circumstantial evidence that says something went on, and it's hard to believe that all of that went on without the quarterback knowing about it. That's probably a pretty apt way to put it. It's a staring contest right now.